Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. And it's coming right up. You're going to hear a roar of the crowd, and believe me, you will never, ever forget it. Are you ready? Count it down. Ready? Okay, here we go now. 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11.
All right, everybody, let's get on it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we are live following Super Bowl 59, one of the worst Super Bowls in the history of the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
40-14 is the score. It's not over just yet. How many people have joined us, Mark?
Oh, a good amount. There was over 100 last I saw, so that's
I'm
good.
impressed. I really didn't know if anyone would care for a Super Bowl post-game analysis. Eli's with us from Florida. Mark and Brandon are here. And I got so bored in the fourth quarter, I started looking back at the worst Super Bowls ever. Did you start doing that, Eli?
Yeah, I started doing a lot of things. I started thinking about all the cold nacho plates and the cars in the parking lot starting to pull out after the half. And I mean, this game was over so early that it's just, you know, that's the problem with live entertainment. I mean, with unrehearsed entertainment. That's the beauty of sports, and it also can be, you know, the part that in a night like
the
this.
ugly part.
You know?
Well, you know who I felt for? It was the mid-fourth quarter, and I was watching a commercial with Matt Damon and David Beckham for Stella Artois.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, someone paid $7 million for that commercial that no one gives a shit about.
No, they paid $16 million. It was a 1-minute spot.
Oh, wow.
It's just, there were some really good spots that just got wasted. I mean,
Yeah, they'll run 1,000,000 times, though. You know that.
The next commercial paid for the rights to Born to Run, and it ran with nobody caring. And actually, I just was disinterested in the commercials. This whole Super Bowl stunk for me.
Yeah.
I mean, during the pregame, you know, there's always that interesting stuff. You see Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt and all that. The virtue signaling was out of hand. But then the game, as soon as the game started, everything sucked. The game sucked. The commercials weren't very good. The halftime was nothing I would be interested in. I'm sure some people loved it. I don't think our audience was too crazy about it. And then the second half got no better. And the play that I think I point to is when I really felt like, oh God, was just before the half. Philadelphia just scored to make it 24-0. They got a minute 35. What if they score here?
Yeah.
And Mahomes throws to that wide open. Was it Hopkins? It was wide open.
Hopkins, yes, wide open.
With all that space, and I don't know if he dropped it or the pass was off. I couldn't really tell, but it looked like it was close enough to him. But anyway, it was just not Kansas City saying, how does this happen that a team lays such an egg in a game like this? They've won 2 Super Bowls in a row, and they absolutely laid an egg.
Yeah, well, that's what they said about the Lions when they got routed by Washington. You can be a very good team that have some holes. Now, the stat about Kansas City this year was how they kept on winning, you know, 1-score games, coming back, Mahomes saving them. But the Eagles' defense was just too good. Just like the Lions' defense wasn't good enough to make it through, the Eagles' defense was too good for a team like Kansas City that certainly had problems up front. I mean, not a single blitz tonight by the Eagles, and Mahomes had no time. It was amazing how the man who's we talked last week about how he's so good at escaping, what his brilliance is, how he does it better than anybody, and he had no place to go tonight. It was just a total rout from the beginning, and I felt bad for the sponsors. You know, you guys said, Drew, you told me our listeners really, we get into the commercials, the whole aura of the entire game. I looked at 40 commercials. I reviewed them. I went to YouTube. I made notes on each one, and you're right. By the second half, who's watching anyway? So it was just a bad night.
This is where gambling gets really exciting, because if you have prop bets, you're still rooting for them all the way through.
Oh, I took heads.
Brandon was the first lost bet of the night, which was heads on the
coin
in the
flip.
coin toss. And I remember Mike Hawk and I bet.
Always.
We
every
bet heads
year.
on the coin toss multiple years and lost every single time. Then Mark had a bet on that somebody, one of the first two teams, well, one of the two teams on their first drive would not get one first down.
Yeah.
And that was over fast because they both got, I'm surprised Kansas City got a first down, honestly.
Yeah, and then they went 3 and out.
It was the only first down Kansas City got in the entire half.
I know.
Wow.
I know. It sucked.
Unbelievable. Then we had the first touchdown would be either Saquon Barkley or
Xavier Worthy, who just got a 50-yarder. He's got 2 touchdowns tonight, but not the first one. Eight receptions, 157 yards by a Chief tonight. Yeah.
they ended up with 22 points. I didn't realize they
They
scored
just
at the
scored
end
a
of the game.
50-yard bomb right when we started.
It
Yeah,
was
it's over now. Yeah.
I gotta say,
22. So that 2-0 square, anybody hold on to a square?
Patrick,
Did any of you think that Brady?
He's terrible.
He was terrible. I'm thinking maybe it's not fair to judge him on a night like this where there really wasn't any drama for him to get into. But with 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter, Kansas City had the ball just once. The Eagles were driving. I look at the game cast on ESPN, 99.6%. And Brady said, with number 15 on the sidelines, you never know. I'm saying, shut up, man. Come on, you know. We all know. You can't convince people that this game is still alive. It isn't. But so how many of you would still be up tonight if we weren't doing this show? I'd have been
how many people are with us?
What's that?
How many people are with us?
Let me go back and check.
Is it that hard to check? I mean, I can go online and check.
174.
I see
I'm
187.
looking at a bunch of stuff right now, but yeah.
Oh, good. 100. I'm surprised 197 people are here. Honestly, I just thought nobody's gonna. Is there even any point to doing this? But anyway, Eli, what do you think is the worst Super Bowl ever?
That's hard to say. There were some. My memory is just clogged with. I can't remember all.
Well,
of
you
them.
get high so much.
There were nothing today. I'm ready today. There was a big stretch there where a lot of them were one-sided.
Yeah,
There's been some more exciting ones in recent years. There's been a lot that were really, really ugly.
The Bears, right?
The Bears
nothing like
46
this.
to 10 was bad. I have to go with San Francisco 55-10 over Denver. They were up 28-0 in the first quarter.
Yep.
Yeah, and New England got beaten by 40 or 50 points.
46 to 10.
I remember that was a bad one. But
Dallas beat Buffalo 52-17. Tampa beat Oakland 48-21. Oh, I lost a bet on the last play of that game. Oh my God. Seattle beat Denver 43-8. And the last crappy Super Bowl was Tampa beating Kansas City 31-9 in Super Bowl 55. It was Brady's last Super Bowl, I guess.
yeah, it's you just. Nothing is forever. I was thinking of Dandy Don Meredith that used to say, Monday Night Football, turn out the lights, the party's over.
Where you'd sing it.
I could just picture guys at Super Bowl parties, early second half, saying, I gotta get up for work in the morning. I might as well slide now, so I'm not staggering in the office tomorrow. And it was just that happens. And for the Chiefs, who were on the brink of a historic victory, to be humiliated like this is just something obviously nobody could anticipate. To go from historic success to an embarrassing collapse. I thought as Mahomes was getting chased around, I thought about the Lions chasing Sam Darnold around the backfield of that Vikings game at the end, where a quarterback just has no shot, no chance, and that's what it was like for him tonight.
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened to Kansas City? I mean, how did they lost? They got smoked. When's the last time they got smoked in a professional football game? It's been years.
Ages,
Yeah.
So what in the world happened? Did they lay an egg? Did Philadelphia
defense.
just outgame them? Outgame plan them?
I think all season long, they said Mahomes has to get rid of the ball quickly. His line can't protect him. They're very weak up front. The Eagles have an incredible front four. And as the stat they gave during the game, last year they were 30th out of 32 in defense, and this year they were first. They brought over this Vic Fangio from Miami and turned it around. And I tell you, who's in for a big payday is Nick Sirianni. He's one of the lowest paid coaches. 5-year contract, $35 million, so it's $7 million a year is nothing to sniff at. But now he'll get a big extension because next year's is last year. And look at Philadelphia; they collapsed at the end of last season. It was like, what's wrong with the Eagles? Should we fire the coach? They were talking about that this time last year. They were like 10-1 and finished like 10-7, I think. But boy, what a difference this year. So congratulations to him. I assume Hurts was the MVP. I don't see who else it could be.
Well, Sweat. I mean, I kind of thought the defensive lineman,
Oh,
yeah.
Jalen Carter never got a sack, did he?
No.
That was another bet
That was
we
another
had.
prop bet. But Josh Sweat, I think he had 2.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and that game was the defensive front for Philadelphia. So if you're going to give an MVP to someone, I think it should be them. More than
The
Hurts.
defensive line was incredible. No, you're right. They were the MVP of the game. They were huge.
I think it probably went to Hurts. So do you give it to defensive linemen when they gave up 22 points out?
Pretty unusual. I don't know. Did the Dallas defensive line get it one year when Ed Too Tall Jones was playing there?
Randy White was a defensive MVP, I believe.
Oh yeah,
that won the Super
so
Bowl.
was Chuck Howley.
Von Miller got it for the
Von Miller, yeah.
Von Miller got it.
Yeah,
Miller got
yeah,
it
he was
for
the
the
last
Broncos.
Wow.
one. Yeah.
I wonder what the fallout will be. Besides the fact, I mean, one of the good things tonight, there were very few shots at Taylor Swift, which was I guess
She
one
got
of the
booed.
few positives. But I just wonder, you think Kelsey will come back, and what'll be the ramifications for Kansas City? Are they going to have to rebuild now after a performance like this, and after having kind of really snuck through this year? Isn't it amazing that they got to the Super Bowl with a team that could get beaten that badly? It is, and it's crazy.
I saw a couple regular season games where I'm like, God, they look so mediocre. They were just struggling with the Raiders for 3.5 quarters, and they just somehow managed to put together, a couple of drives at the end and a couple of field goals, and they won the game. And I thought, God, they're just not that good. But their record was always.
Remember the stat, right? They won 18 straight one score games.
Yeah,
so they, they were skating by because they're a confident team. They know how to win, that old adage. So. I don't know. They did get beat 38-0 in the last game of the year when they sat off the start.
Oh, that's right.
That doesn't count, but yeah.
But you can see that when a quarterback doesn't get protection, a great quarterback can become very below average. And tonight you would not have known that Patrick Mahomes is considered one of the greatest quarterbacks. In fact, he's done more before the age of 30 than anybody else has done. That's why had he won this game, had he won his 4th Super Bowl, there were all kinds of statistics that will put him ahead of Brady as the greatest playoff quarterback, even though he would trail in total Super Bowl 7-4 in terms of winning drives, in terms of positive plays, just one stat after another. But it was not to be. And I take notes in the first half, and I'm looking at their first possession. One first down, punt. Next possession, Kelsey drops a pass over the middle, punt. Again, punt. From their own 2, 3rd and 5. He throws it too low for Kelsey to catch it. Punt. It was then the second quarter, sack in the first play, sack in the second play, and then in the third play, Cooper DeJean picks it off to pick 6 to go 17. And you're saying what? 17-0. Then he throws another interception to this guy Zach Bond, who is
great play
up for defensive player of the year. There are some great players in defense, and it's 24-0. And then, as you said, Drew, they're wide. They can at least make it 24-7, and drops a wide open. Tompkins drops a wide open pass. So,
wow! Can you imagine being a Kansas City fan watching that game, thinking we're going to be the first team to win 3 in a row, and just they never were even close to being in this game.
Nope.
Yep.
Not even for a second. It was so bad. They had 14 yards right before halftime. They had 14 yards. They get a couple first downs.
Sure, they flashed a stat in the second quarter that they had 10 plays, Kansas City, to Philadelphia's 10 first downs. I'm like, that can't be right. That's insane.
Wow.
And so then I'm looking at halftime stats, 23 points, and I'm thinking that's more points than I understand words that Kendrick Lamar said. I couldn't understand. I still don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
And you never will.
How does he? I never will. And rap. 20 years ago, they do some songs with other artists. They redo some other popular songs and have a melody. How can you have a Grammy for the best song of the year that doesn't even have a melody? I don't get it.
That just makes fun of another rapper. I mean, it has a guy with a beef with a 40-year-old rapper. I mean, two men who are in their, what, 40s having a beef?
By the way, he did two of the diss tracks. I mean, not only Not Like Us, but he did another one, too, that was a diss track at Drake. So.
I'm never going to understand, like the East Coast, West Coast. Oh, yeah, people are getting killed. This East Coast, West Coast rap beef. And it's like, wait, why would anyone kill someone? Who cares whether a song's made in the West Coast or the East Coast? It's so stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're really trying to bring down a pedophile, that would be different. But if he's not a pedophile, I don't know. I fail to understand. This morning on Good Morning America, they described it as a good-natured beef between, and I'm like, a good-natured beef?
It is absolutely not a good.
Calling someone a pedophile and calling someone a wife beater, that's not good-natured.
No, not only that, but the other diss track that he did, the Euphoria song, is just full of why he hates Drake, the way he dresses, the way he talks, the way he acts. I mean, it's...
And that's what people want to see at halftime of the Super Bowl. I guess so, because the crowd was cheering when I got to the pedophile part. That's when they cheered the loudest.
It's just funny to me where people... Well, I kind of like the way he played the whole will he or won't he play it, all that stuff, will he play the song? That was kind of fun. Other than that, I thought it just existed. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. It just... That'll be right in the middle when they rank them all, right?
I'm just not into watching 100 black guys dance. It just doesn't do for me. I like watching
music.
I watch Stevie Wonder, and his band, and I'm really into it because there's a lot of music related to the performance and people are singing live. But, I mean, that's another problem with the Super Bowl. No one sings live anymore. Yeah. So what's the point of being there? Why don't you just play the music?
I've tried so hard, and black music is the music of the 20th century. Black music is behind rock and roll, blues, jazz. It was the most creative, most original, and dominated. It was the music of the 20th century, and I'm trying to understand this, and I guess I'm just too old. The name of the song, Not Like Us. Of course, I listened to it like I did Leangelo Ball, and it sounds like it's some machine-generated beat that's repetitive, and I keep on waiting.
That's insulting to mustard.
I keep on waiting for a melody. Give me like a chord, and plus I don't understand what anybody's saying. At least if it's a story, and I don't have bad hearing.
He does. He talks really. He raps very quickly. I mean, there's a lot of words. A lot of words. I mean, that's one thing that's impressive about Eminem is the wordplay is amazing if you can follow it.
I remember back. It must have been 1990, and my daughter's playing Coolio, "Gangsta's Paradise." I go,
I love that
great song.
I love it.
What a great song. This is rap. I love it. But that was the end of it.
No, I liked a lot more of that. We were talking about the Humpty Dance the other day. I love the Humpty Dance. There's a lot of things you can like about it, but I think if you weren't young, growing up with rap music and loving the rebellious nature of it, because that's what keeps it alive, is that teenagers love it.
A commenter on the YouTube channel says, "My dad thought Kendrick Lamar was the Black National Anthem." Not joking. Like, what, all of it?
I tweeted out when the Black National Anthem was playing that it didn't look very diverse to me, because there was not a white person to be found for the black, but it's the Black National Anthem. So I guess. And then the New Orleans sound came out, and Harry Connick, who was the singer, was like the only white guy. And then Kendrick Lamar, I didn't see white people out there either. Not that I care.
When are we gonna get our chance?
Not with Jay-Z in charge.
Oh.
And the commercials tonight at $8 million 30 seconds. There's 60 minutes of commercials. I added it up, about $1 billion in commercials. One of them, the one for what was the one for the Google Pixel Gemini or whatever it was a 2-minute one. So that's a $32 million commercial. It's just so, and they pay $2.2 billion a year for the rights. The NFL gets $11 billion, $10 billion a year. They got an 11-year deal for $111 billion. And there's so much money in this. The tickets to this game, the average was $5,600. That's $400 million just in tickets to the game. I wonder how many people left at the half with their $5,600 ticket. And I even felt sorry for Pat Riley, who trademarked three-peat years ago, was going to make a fortune if Kansas City won on the whole three-peat thing. And then I'm thinking about Brady and how he wound up with the $375 million to really just be an average announcer. But if I can tell you the history, it's fascinating because it's really a rounding error with all this money, with the Fox, for example, getting all the games during the regular season. the NFC championship game where 50 million people watch. This one where they get $1 billion. That Brady is just the 37 million is really just another expense that isn't that staggering. And it all started in 2016 when ESPN let Mike Tirico slip away to NBC. That was the first domino that fell. ESPN said, we'll let him go. They tried to replace him. Miserable. Sean McDonough, Joe Tessitore, Steve Levy, no star power. Brought in guys like Jason Witten. They had Booger McFarland on some crane on the sidelines, Brian Greasy, and they failed. And so what do? They give up in 2022. They try and poach Romo. Romo was making $3 million a year. They offered him $150 million for 10 years. ESPN for CBS's Romo. Then the CBS gives him a 600% raise from $3 million to $18 million. Then ESPN finally they pick the big coup. They steal the Fox's A team, Buck and Aikman, pay them $165 million total for 5 years, and then Fox, they got Burkhardt and Greg Olson, did the game 2 years ago between Kansas City and Philadelphia, and they got high marks for it. But then they bring in Brady, and one of the things that Brady gives him, even though he's still not that great in the booth, as we all agreed tonight, is he's really a team player. He handed out the trophy for the UFL. He does the Michigan stuff for the Michigan-Ohio State stuff. And so the Brady brand is what they were willing to pay for. And I guess he'll stay, don't you think? I mean,
well, yeah.
If they're going to allow him to, I think it's such an extreme conflict of interest. I can't believe. I mean, the NFL can make its own rules about anything. They're so powerful. It's the most powerful entity in sports by miles. They could draw more people. I mean, this is the biggest sporting event of the year. By the way, Tom Brady, just a little sidebar here, was wearing a $740,000 watch tonight.
What was that thing he had on? The gold thing? $740,000?
Yeah, $740,000. I think he overpaid.
Wait a minute. If it was one big diamond, it wouldn't be worth that much. How could it be worth that much?
I don't know.
He can buy a Timex for $19.95 that keeps time. I don't get
because he can overpay.
He's got all the FTX money. He's got his Fox money.
That's right.
He's the owner of an NFL team. I mean, he's got more money than he knows what to do with. Hey, do we have any audio of Alan Roche, by the way?
Do we?
Oh, I got to hear some Alan Roche. Alan Roche is the PA announcer at the Super Bowl. This guy has the biggest balls. There's 2 wheelbarrows that carries his balls into the game when he gets there. This guy, what a voice. Oh, my God.
Virginia Hallis McCaskey, the matriarch of the Chicago Bears and daughter of George Hallis, the founder of the NFL, leaves a legacy of class, dignity, humanity, faith, family, and football. She lived by the simple adage to always do the right thing. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Hallis McCaskey family and Bears fans around the world. Now, join us in a moment of silence for Virginia Hallis McCaskey.
Wow.
Everybody quiet.
Wow, those are some pipes. Remember John Facenda?
Thank you.
By the way, fastest moment of silence I've ever seen in my life.
It was really fast.
It was like 7 seconds.
I was surprised she got a moment of silence. She wasn't popular in Chicago.
I heard that's what she would have wanted.
To honor America and perform our national anthem, please welcome 7-time Grammy Award-winning artist and composer, New Orleans' own, the maestro, John Baptiste.
Yeah.
The NFL, they simultaneously drive me nuts, but I really love the fact of how serious they take themselves.
Babyface.
Like the whole intro video with Tom Cruise.
That was
I
what
is
that?
I said, is that Tom Cruise?
I know.
He's got the curly
said
hair. Has he gotten some work? Why don't I even recognize him?
I thought he looked like
familiar.
AI Tom Cruise, like an AI version of himself.
No,
He looked weird.
something's going on. People are saying Tom Brady's had fat removed from his cheeks, too. People are saying, why you look different, Tom Brady? Tom Cruise looks weird. He doesn't look quite like Tom Cruise. I don't know what he's done.
Yeah.
I really wish he would have just sprinted out of the tunnel to deliver the game ball because he loved doing that run with his hands.
Yeah, I don't. What was the point of that? And was all the
I don't know.
virtue signaling was insane when the Lady Gaga song, which is from Mission Impossible, or was it from Maverick?
It was from Top Gun 2.
Oh, Maverick,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's a 2022 song, and they turned it into this whole, sort of celebration of New Orleans for getting back together after the terrorist attack.
Yep.
And with Tom Brady and Michael Strahan charging down the street.
And then, well, by the way, two things with that. Number one, there was a quid pro quo because at the end of the third quarter, they went into break and announced Lady Gaga's new single.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Okay, so
Wait a minute, how about when the Rocket Mortgage thing ended, and then they
were
sang
singing it, yeah.
Country Roads? Is that what it was?
yeah, Country Roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
How
weird
they arranged
ad.
that? So they paid Fox for the commercial, but
And then they just played it in the stadium. They knew people would sing it.
those people didn't see the commercial, right?
Yeah, no.
I don't
no.
know.
But they play
I was
music.
so confused. That was in the stadium live, correct?
Yeah, and they.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably just coordinated it to play with that song in the stadium.
But why? You mean to tell me that Lady Gaga is like, okay, look, if I'm going to play this song before the game, you got to mention my new single in the third quarter when you're going into commercial break. What you got to play a little bit of it too. When would the NFL ever do that? Why would they?
I don't know.
She got to play her song live before the game. Well, it's not my current. I got a current song I want to play.
Were you hoping she ran into Bradley Cooper during the game?
Yeah, he was there pumping up the Eagles
right.
fans.
Oh my God.
Hope they reunite and just get it on.
Yeah, I was watching I was trying to make note of all the celebrities who showed up at the game.
Paul McCartney and hanging out with Adam Sandler. How cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, he looked like he was very quite chatty up in that box. I wanted the Eagles to win because I bet on the Eagles until I saw Anne Hathaway in the Eagles jersey.
True. That's really funny you say that because they were showing. Brandon, do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
I was apoplectic. I'm like, Anne Hathaway? Anne Hathaway's from New York. She's from New York City and outside New York. She's not an Eagles fan. So I looked it up. Her dad was an announcer in her grandfather's an announcer in WIP.
Oh, really?
So she's gonna pose that she grew up an Eagles fan. I don't believe it, and they still think she's a poser.
Paul Rudd was there in his Chiefs jersey. He looked so bummed in the third quarter. And then
his head is in his hands.
Oh.
But it's a shame though. When you say that you didn't even like the commercials tonight because the game was so shitty. $1 billion was spent, and some of them were very creative. There were some that I really loved. Did you see the pickleball one with Willem Dafoe and Catherine O'Hara?
Yes.
They were very, very timely, with playing, pickleball's a big thing. The Clydesdale one where the little horsey pushes the barrel down. Oh, in fact, they did and the one where the little girl grows the potato for Lay's. But
Yeah.
also not, because everybody's saying this game sucks. I'm going home.
There was a commercial. I think it was Coca-Cola did a commercial about we're going to survive AI, and I'm like,
Yeah.
were we concerned
watching
about
that.
Coca-Cola and artificial intelligence at any point? Like, were we worried about that? Is that a thing? Or
no, I think they're trying to suggest that hey, Coke will always be the same. Don't worry about these crazy changes because they flash back to 75 and they're like, hey, the world's gonna go be run by computers pretty soon, and they show the Coke sign. And
Anybody scared of AI is not thinking, I hope Coca-Cola doesn't change. But back to Lady Gaga and her performance, and they came, whatever. It was a very nice thing to do, sure. And then they come back before the coin flip and they talk about the attack on New Orleans again. And then they talk about the fires in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And the hurricanes.
Yes.
And the plane crash. And I'm like, well, which plane crash? It's like they had to list every tragedy that we've had in the last year.
I know.
I mean, they're tragedies, but it's
last month,
see the
really.
one in New Orleans, but what good does it do? You bring the people out on the field. It doesn't bring the people who perished back. It doesn't really do anything except make it look like you're
care.
empathetic and you care.
Isn't it weird though that I lost my family member in this terrorist attack, but I got to go do the coin toss at the Super Bowl. Man, that was great.
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
And when you mention Lady Gaga,
Who's going to turn that down?
All right, true. You get to go to the game.
There's so many. We're such a celebrity culture. I'm looking at my notes because I did take copious notes on all the commercials. As I go down, look at the people that are in the commercials. First, you had the Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You got Beckham.
Lecturing.
You got Beckham in the Stella Artois with
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. You got you got Channing Tatum with the did they have that one on where he's dancing with the soccer players that was supposed to run in the game? I don't know. I don't remember. So you got Catherine O'Hara and Willem Dafoe as the pickleball hustlers.
Eugene Levy and his son were in that commercial with the worms or whatever that landed on his eyebrows.
Oh, his son wasn't in that commercial. That was a Little Caesars commercial where Eugene Levy's eyebrows. I actually laughed at that because it was so stupid.
His son was in another commercial.
His son was in the Homes.com one.
With Morgan Freeman.
What about, did you guys see the cruise commercial with Orlando Bloom and Drew Barrymore? Like they were a couple on a cruise, but we know Orlando Bloom's married to Katy Perry.
That was so dumb.
It reminded me of, remember the Terry Hatcher, Howie Long commercials? Like, why are those two, why are we acting like they're a flirty couple? What?
Yeah, I don't
get it. Makes sense to me.
I don't get it.
Then you had Antonio Banderas and the chef, what's his name? I forget his name.
Oh, the guy that yells at everybody.
Gordon Ramsay,
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. Yep.
Let's see. Well, Glenn Powell, who's a pretty hot actor and playing Goldilocks in the Ram pickup.
That one was okay.
Commercial.
Kind of like that one.
Yeah, you had. Oh, did they play the Cher one? Where Cher?
I don't remember seeing Cher.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, she was in one where she goes back to 1680 and some ancient-looking woman from the 1600s look at her. She's old and young at the same time, and everybody's kind of amazed at her. Let's see what else they got there. I guess Post Malone is in every commercial now. I don't even know who the guy is.
Yeah,
he's a rapper, I guess.
Yeah. He's a rapper, I guess.
Thanks, man. Peyton Manning was in that was in the cul-de-sac party, right? The one the Post Malone was in that. Let's see what else. I got Federer and Elmo in one on for sneakers. I don't know if they play. And you had Shabuzi. Yeah. You had Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez and the Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, I missed Vin Diesel. I wanted to see that.
Yeah, it was him and Drive Michelle Rodriguez and Ludacris drives up and he's like, "What happened to the Fast Life?" Because they're all in the Fast and the Furious.
Was Vin Diesel talking like this?
No, he was taking it slow. Yeah, he ate a quart of ice cream.
See what else?
He was eating ice cream in the ad. The one ad I do like, and I just love these guys. Every time I see them, it's like these guys, they don't do anything wrong. It's Peyton and Eli, and the whole Kick of Destiny was actually really fucking funny. And Cooper Manning was there hosting it, and then I didn't realize they were going to do a celebratory commercial during the Super Bowl where Peyton's pulling Eli through the. It had been a whole story arc of, Eli wanting to be a kicker. I thought that was funny.
Well, it was pretty fucking hilarious that Peyton hit the post.
Oh, he doinked it. I know. It was great. After they moved up 5 yards.
The weirdest combination of people that I saw all night was Kevin Costner was sitting next to Pete Davidson.
Talking about pussy, I'm sure.
What?
They're telling pussy stories.
That would make sense. Are they in a movie or something together? Because a lot of times, CBS or networks will go, "Hey, look who's sitting with so-and-so." It's like, hey, they've got a show together now. Like, they come to World Series games together.
Let me look it up.
Wasn't Davidson in the spot with Ramsey about the Bosch cookware?
That's right.
It's made from spaceships. Mm-hmm. Let's see, Roger Federer. Who else we have?
Chris Rock was in a commercial with Jim Mora. Where, of course, he says, playoffs.
Did they have the Andy Reid Skechers commercial? Did that play?
It just played after the game.
Oh, okay, that was actually pretty good. He's in it, and Matthew McConaughey is in everything. I mean, the whole Uber Eats stuff is. In fact, I think that's what Cher was in was the Uber Eats one. Then, of course, you got Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal, and people. I
did not see that. Was that a good commercial?
Sydney Sweeney was in it.
She's the one at the end where I'll have what she's having.
Yeah, Sydney Sweeney was the one that said, "I'll have what she's having."
Yeah. I mean, probably got millions.
Just did not deliver. That's just it was nothing. That
was lame.
I gotta say, I'm kind of tired of playoffs with Jim Mora. I mean, they hauled that back out for another commercial for DraftKings.
Yeah.
And I did not get the one for I thought it was for Ray-Ban sunglasses or for Meta. They had the three Chris's, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, and Chris Jenner plugging the AI glasses.
Augmented,
I didn't really get that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Uber Eats had McConaughey. With Kevin Bacon, remember Football 8, the whole conspiracy theory thing, which reminded me of Mazaway, who couldn't think of the term conspiracy theory, but it was all about conspiracy theories about eating, and had Greta Gerwig and Martha Stewart in it.
Well, back to the game then. Doesn't that destroy the whole NFL fixing games narrative, considering the Chiefs got blown out? So what, they wanted the Chiefs to make it to the
Mark,
Super Bowl?
You can't fix people like that. Everybody believes that. I mean, does anyone really, how can anyone of sound mind believe that the NFL goes, okay, we got the Chiefs have to win win it this year. So, if we need a call or two this game, come on. That's so silly. Even responding to it is just crazy.
People believe it, but to what end? To have a boring Super Bowl? It makes no sense.
I don't know. I don't really care.
Although
I can't listen to all these people.
There were plenty of tweets about that after the first flag was thrown on the 4th and 2. That pass interference call that was questionable.
That was a hell of a break.
Immediately, Twitter's like, it's fixed. Like, we're fucking 2 minutes into this game. Relax.
We have a chat of people that are going to come. They're going to lose their minds if I don't mention that Kenny Pickett entered the game because of Eli's quarterbacks meeting. He goes to one practice at the University of Pittsburgh and somehow ends up invited into the quarterback's room. And that story has come up so many times. It's like the meeting that never stops giving. But Kenny Pickett actually entered the game for Philadelphia, and people are going, "Oh, Eli must be out of his mind."
Look how close Eli is to a Super Bowl ring.
Thanks for thinking of me. By the way, in the Duncan, whatever, I didn't even get the Duncan. I didn't get it at all. Where the guy was in the vat with I don't know, chocolate or something all over. But Belichick was in that one.
And he brought his girlfriend along with him.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yes. She was standing next to him. It was a really quick shot, and we had to pause the screen to see if that was her. It was fucking her.
Yep.
So apparently there is a 6.5 minute mini movie that ad is based on or whatever they want, because that's the thing now. You have to go online then and get more advertising. And I guess she's part of that too. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
You texted me the other day, Drew, the thing about Pat Mahomes Sr.
Yeah.
Who was, and I'm thinking of Patrick Jr. His father has had 3 DUIs in the last period of time, and now what's this with boxing? Portnoy's going to have Pat Mahomes Sr., who had a DUI and he's not even allowed to drive a car since last November, fighting John Rocker. What's this with boxing now, where old people who are out of the spotlight and need to come back in decide to fight each other? This is their way back into celebrity culture?
I'll explain it to you, because Dave Portnoy at Barstool is a good marketer. He's been watching what the Paul brothers are doing, fighting in meaningless fights against people where you can't help having a rooting interest because you hate the Paul brothers or you love the Paul brothers, but those fights are meaningless. And so is Patrick Mahomes Sr. against John Rocker. But I want to watch it. I have to admit, that's a matchup I want to watch.
I want to make our own fight.
And it reminds me of celebrity boxing. If you remember, do you remember celebrity boxing, Eli?
No, I don't.
Yeah, for a brief period, Fox put celebrity boxing on, where they would have people from Welcome Back Kotter would be fighting against.
How many years ago was this?
Danny Bonaducci.
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Manute Bowl in the refrigerator Perry fought.
That's right.
Yeah, that was great. Tanya Harding and Darva Conger, I think, fought, dude.
I do remember Tanya Hardy doing something.
Had Olga Corbett.
That's right.
Was against the girl that won the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Darva Conger.
Yeah.
She boxed. Olga
Corbett got her ass handed to her.
Pounds. She's 4'10", 80 pounds.
She was like half the size of Darva Conger. It was ridiculous. Oh, man. And Horshack fought Dustin Diamond, Screech from Saved by the Bell, and Dustin Diamond. And Horshack looked so uncoordinated. It was over. He knew it was over immediately. And Dustin Diamond was like hot dogging it and stuff, and he just beat his ass.
I think we need to have Eli fight. Will you fight Bernie?
I'll watch that.
Let's just throw a celebrity fight together.
I'll watch that. Only if it's total martial arts. I don't want just boxing. I want gouging and I want elbows.
No rule, no bars. Yeah, no holds barred.
God. So I was feeling sorry for Mahomes this week because he's got his little asshole brother is on probation for the battery of a waiter. Now his father, who's got 3 DUIs, is in the boxing ring.
His little brother, by the way, went up to Trump's box and got a picture with Trump, which he immediately tweeted out because Trump was at the game. And Trump flew over before the game. And what did he tweet out, Mark? A picture of the Gulf of America?
He had a whole press conference about the Gulf of America on Air Force One.
He did?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he had a whole little mini press conference.
Well, he also, in his interview with Brett Baer asked him to pick the game, and he picked the Chiefs, which is, there's nothing wrong with doing that. But a big shout out to Brittany Mahomes, who loves him and is a great girl, and she's wonderful, and she's MAGA all the way. And I'm thinking,
She actually said something that was pro-MAGA back when you couldn't say that, and people just attacked her, and she was like, fuck you, I can be wherever I want. So at least, I mean, she had the courage of her convictions. I mean, there was a time when you could not say you were for Trump.
Well, I think isn't Lamar Hunt or Mike Hunt? What's his kid's name? Clark Hunt. Clark Hunt isn't. Yeah, I think he's a. Somebody was writing about this that they're big Republican supporters, but then is it Loria that who owns the Eagles?
Loria
is a huge Democrat donor, I guess. So
the Democrats win the Super Bowl.
I know. Yeah, it's like you can't avoid politics no matter what.
Well, we'll see what happens from here on in. Interesting, the NFL news this week, Josh Allen won the MVP. Of course, conspiracy theory there that because Lamar Jackson has won it twice now, and Allen hasn't.
Oh, he had a great year.
And Lamar had his best year ever this year, so they're giving it to the other guy. And Kevin O'Connell was coach of the year for the Vikings. I thought that
people are so mad that Campbell didn't win, but I mean, didn't O'Connell do a better job? I mean, the expectations for the Lions
beat by the Lions
win.
in the last game, and then sucked in the playoffs.
What does Dan Campbell have to do to be coach of the year? Because playoffs have nothing to do with coach of the year.
Look at the predictions of what the Vikings were going to do this year. They were terrible. They were awful.
Did someone have the Lions at 15-2 with a beat-up defense?
But they had them win. You know, a lot of people had them in the Super Bowl. I mean, if anything, they underperformed.
But no, it's not about the postseason, though. Coach of the year is not just about the regular season.
Yeah, well, they matched expectations to win the division.
With like 6 starters out.
I'm not that appalled. I just surprised how many people were so angry about him. Like, well, I mean, O'Connell did do a hell of a job. Who cares?
He had a good year. I just don't know, what does Dan Campbell have to do. I thought honestly when they were 9-8, when they started 1-6 and went 9, I thought he could have been coach of the year that year.
Better coaching, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe he's due now, and he'll get one like Josh Allen got one, because he's been in the running, but just hasn't been able to push through.
Hey, what did you guys think of the Hall of Fame choices? Did you take a look at the list, Eli?
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know who got left off.
It was Jared Allen made it, Eric Allen made it, Antonio Gates made it, and Sterling Sharp made it. I was kind of surprised Sterling Sharp made it because, first of all, he retired a long time ago, and he only played, I think, was it 7 seasons or 6 seasons?
Yeah, but he was dominant in that time.
He was dominant.
Was he that dominant?
I remember him being pretty damn dominant.
I thought he was great. No, I thought he was great.
But then again, we're Lions fans, and he totally owned it.
I thought he was great.
And he was considered better than his brother Shannon, who I believe is in the Hall of Fame. Isn't Shannon Sharp in the Hall of Fame?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and Sterling was considered the better player for a long time, so that one doesn't.
Are you surprised Eli Manning didn't make it?
No, he's had some great moments and some great games, but I don't think he's got a Hall of Fame career. I think
he was on the fence, so yeah.
Borderline.
Well, I saw most of the people they talked to said he's just not a first year in the Hall of Fame guy, but he will get in. And I was like, does he? He did win 2 Super Bowls. I mean, both Super Bowls were upsets too, which is a pretty big deal.
In fact, Brady was crying about that tonight, the 2007 game where they were 18-0, and then that incredible catch by Tyree something or other where he caught the ball between his helmet.
Oh my God,
David Tyree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was an was that 2007? God, is time flying? Shit, that was 18 years ago. Jesus,
that really bummed me out just because it reminded me of being in the middle of a great Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Sterling Sharp led the league in receptions his second season, his 5th and 6th seasons with 90, 108, 112. He led the league in yardage with 1,461 yards one year, and then he also led the league in touchdowns with 18 his final season in 94, and in 92 with 13 touchdown catches. He had 65 touchdown catches in 7 seasons. He had 595 receptions in 7 seasons, and in postseason he only played 2 games, and he had 4 touchdowns, 3 against the Lions and 1.
Oh yes, over William White. That was a tough one.
Wide open.
Anytime human beings are voting, whether it's gymnastics in the Olympics or whether it's Hall of Fame, I mean, just Derek Jeter, one guy didn't vote for him at all in his ballot when he kept him from being unanimous in the Hall of Fame. And this year, one guy didn't vote for Ichiro Suzuki. Everybody else voted for him. He's such an obvious Hall of Famer. So when you leave it up to people, there's all kinds of agendas and guys they didn't like, and why is Alan Trammell in and Lou Whitaker not? It's all, personal stuff is why Halls of Fame and MVPs and stuff like that is all arbitrary. Just
I feel like if you don't include Derek Jeter on your ballot or Ichiro Suzuki, you should lose your right to vote. That's ridiculous.
I agree with that.
Well, you're doing it just so you can get somebody else in.
By the way, I know you'll appreciate this, Eli. I was looking at the sack leaders year to year, and the NFL now shows sack leaders up back till 1960, which they didn't used to.
Oh, really? No, they didn't do that because Bubba Baker didn't make it, and his was 1980, and his didn't count. Strahan held the record, even though Bubba had more, I think.
I think Bubba had 23 sacks, I think, or maybe was it more than 23? But he's not listed. But Deacon Jones led the league in sacks three times.
The old head slap.
He had over 20 sacks all 3 years. Yeah. Like, holy shit. I was a little young to appreciate Deacon Jones, but my God.
Wasn't he a great actor, too? Wasn't he in some show?
Wait, was he in a show? I remember Fred Dreyer, who was on that Los Angeles team, was in a lot of stuff.
Deacon Jones was definitely on a TV show.
He was on I want to say he was on a detective show or a cop show or something.
Fred Dreyer was, yeah. He had a good career.
Hey, would you like to see what's going on the streets of Philadelphia?
Yeah, let's take a look.
See, this is just some lady on the streets. So basically, you have a guy behind her blowing a whistle as she drops the F-bomb while with her little daughter.
Did she? I can't hear shit.
Her nose is awfully red.
It's like the only word you can understand, or I can understand or hear her say, was fucking, and then the guy's just blowing a whistle.
That's more than I understood Kendrick Lamar tonight.
Let's see if this one's any better. This man on the street.
Right now, I want to introduce you to Gina. Gina,
hi, Gina.
How can anyone hear anything?
She's got the sign.
Ain't gonna hunt no more. We're done. Barkley, thank you. Giants, thank you for giving it to us. Barkley, happy birthday, Eagles. I love you.
She's holding her sign.
I love that guy. He couldn't hear a word she said because that guy was yelling so much.
I love it when people interview man on the street because the man on the street doesn't know jack squat. No. Always get the biggest idiots when you pick random people, and it's just the most mindless exercise. But at the same time, people won't stop doing man on the street.
How about people that take? I was watching this Sebastian Maniscalco comedy thing, and he's going, "Who are these people that take a piece of cardboard and write on it and put it on a stick and go out in public and raise it up in the air?" And so there's got all these Eagles fans with their.
I know it's 2025. You'd think we would be over that, but yeah, she had her sign, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. The hunt is over.
Well, we can put this one to bed. Hey, unlike the Super Bowl, Dr. Yalda didn't spend $8 million for this spot. The reality is you can't even attach a price to what he's done for thousands of our fellow Michiganders. He's freed them to a new life with precision eyesight, 20/20 or better, without glasses, contacts, or reading glasses. In the long run, you save the cost and daily bother of needing all those old technologies just to see okay. His custom LASIK gives most patients 20/15 vision that literally needs to be seen to be believed. His bifocal implants eliminate the need for reading glasses, dials and everything, near to far, and again, with precision that you haven't enjoyed in years, if at all. And he's offering Drew's listeners $2,025 off all through 2025. Log on to yaldawacenter.com for a free evaluation.
Get out of here.
Yeah, we'll put that Super Bowl to rest. Talk to you guys later.
All right, Eli.
All right.
See you, Eli.
All right, so long, everybody. We want to go back to the streets again and see what the man on the streets.
I don't see anything right now. I'll keep an eye on it, though.
All right. We'll wrap it up then. Thanks everybody for joining us. I really didn't think anybody. We got 400 and some odd people, so that was nice.
Time for Tubby bye bye. Time for Tubby bye bye. Time for Tubby bye bye.